Oh yeah, I know. I mean, the one thing about Uncle and the Neffs is that, you're going to see some crazy stuff in the draft phase. And I'm and Uncle and the Neffs. I'm in their Discord almost every single day, and it's really just interesting, just listening in and just hearing their theory about drafting and picking. And I do have some insider information, and I do think the draft today, Z, is going to be a little bit nuts.
Yeah,
That's all I'm gonna say.
I'm excited for something coming out of them in the draft phase. Because we've seen a lot, and if I'm hearing anything about just a little spice in there, it's hard not to get excited, especially with how we've seen this team be able to pilot their champions and be able to really press the issue here. And shout out my boy Blevins Braves. Hey, always appreciate you pulling up, man. I hope you're enjoying your Saturday and hope you're gonna have a great Memorial Day weekend. We are hosting our week 3, day 1 of the ULS, starting our second game of the day. Uh, Getting ready here, and it looks like we should be on time for this, which would be really exciting. It's always great when we can stay on the time schedule. But yeah, just going back to what we were talking about without getting too deep into this, I think what we saw from the boys now, just a flex of get me out to playing something other than a control mage, now is putting these other teams, they're now made aware that there's, to your point earlier, you can't just ban out these control mages. But now on the side of the boys, we've seen just all CC, just go super heavy on engage and them just be able to take over team fights. But now transitioning to something that doesn't have as much control in these fights, like the Lucian, and shifting to more of this early game pressure and more of this just skill check,
Yeah.
with some of these champs, and he's passing the skill check.
Yeah, no, I think we're really seeing the boys just adapt and really show that they're not a very one-dimensional team and that they can, you know, take themselves off of these comfort picks and still be successful. I'm going to be really excited to see what they pick tomorrow. I mean, if they're blue side and they take the Lucian away from Tizzy, I mean, and they ban some of his control mages, I mean, who knows what we could see. So I really think it's really cool that they're, going out of their way to switch up the draft and take a little pressure off of the rest of their team with these picks.
Yeah, and we'll have to see exactly how that pans out for them. It looks like we will have. Oop, I do need them to switch sides. But yeah, if Uncle and the Nephews are able to put other teams also on watch and they're able to change up from this double enchanter style and have this be something that they're able to just bust out as needed, because for the first round robin and a game, 4 games, 4-0 on these picks, able to just absolutely run through a lot of these games. Average game time sitting at this 20 25 minutes if you exclude their game against the boys, 40-minute banger. But other than that, they've been able to run this comp and just make short work of the rest of the league.
Yeah, and I mean, they force teams to play at their speed. They force teams to adapt to their team comp. So I think, the biggest thing that you can do against Uncle T and the Neffs is, force them to play your game. I mean, which is just so tough just because, I mean, they really haven't been challenged in draft. They have been challenged early, and they've just been letting these Enchanter tops just get the first item. And I mean, after that, I mean, GDI and Uncle Tizzy are just running rampant, man. It's tough to deal with. It really is. It's not just as simple as, banning Lulu or banning Karma. I mean, it's a whole different theory that they have about the game. It's a different way that they play it, which it's hard for teams to, get ahead of.
Yeah, and it's going to be really scary if you can now add versatility to something like that. And Benjamin Zipper, not really someone that I'm concerned about. I think that there's a lot of champions that he is able to pull out, and I think that it's how the rest of the team is playing around it, because a lot of these definitely seem to be more skewed towards, just VIP service almost. Escort your damage source, but especially games like last week, we've seen Champagne Showers just absolutely take over the game when Benjamin Zipper was struggling to get something going, as he often had in the early game, wasn't able to get out to just that immediate 3,000 gold lead and just smack the enemy mid laner with the wallet. But seeing other people step up, and now if you add some change up on that, you add some variety to the champs they're playing, to what they're overall drafting, things could get really dicey going forward, and it just makes me all the more excited for the matchup tomorrow. But for today, we got to stay on this matchup for that, and switching over to some talk about the Dino Nuggies. You know, this team 0-4 right now in the league, having a tough go in the first round robin plus the game, but a team that we have seen sparks from, a team that has been able to show up on different stages of the game. You know, how do you think that this team could potentially pull it all together to produce a win?
Well, one thing I think is really interesting about the Dino Nuggies Z is just their champion pools. I mean, I think they're one of the only teams that we've seen where we haven't seen any repeat champions picked, and I think that's really unique. I think that's really hard to ban out when you're coming into draft, and I think it's tough to have a game plan versus a team like that, just because you never know what you're going to expect. I mean, we got Mocha Mexican, Diana, Kane, and Echo. I mean, he goes for these more assassin type junglers. Same with Vin Arvel in the mid lane. I mean, you just don't know what they're gonna pick, and I think that element of surprise can be really useful against the top team like Uncle T and the Nefs. They might be caught off guard here by some of these picks.
Yeah, and it's just with the variety of champions that he's played, another one of these people that, just like people like Benjamin Zipper, and now we're coming to find out Get Me Out, just a variety to the champs that they have in their pool. And I feel like Mocha Mexican hasn't even shown us yet everything that he's able to play. And that's what makes me really excited every time, we get to watch this guy play, is just that there's always some variety. There's always like this spicy pick he has. We've seen the Echo, we've seen the Diana, we got to see the Lee Sin last week, and he's performed on all of these picks. It's just being able to pull it all together. Sometimes the team does look a little disjointed.
Yeah, no, I think it's just one of those teams where it's just separately their players are very strong, but just when they're trying to make plays together, it looks like they're having a little trouble with the team cohesion. And I mean, that can be fleshed out really easily, Z. If they just get into like a couple extra days of scrims, couple extra flex games together, I think they could really come together. And I mean, like we talked about last week, I mean, they could still get a win or two coming out in the last 2 weeks here.
Right, and remember, a win does put them, though Double Unicorns does have the head-to-head against them, but that's a team, these teams are going to play each other tomorrow. If they win that game, they're tied with Double Unicorns now for this third-place spot. And same with the boys. We could have two ties going into tomorrow. We could have the tie for first place, and we could have a tie for third place. There's a lot of things that we can still see change. There's a lot of things that we can still see shake up, and no one's out of it until we get to playoffs, until we get to eliminations. So as long as we're able to as long as this team is able to find their identity, and they're able to find where they actually slot in and how they could play together, this is a team that can wake up and surprise the league.
Yeah, and I mean, I think draft phase for this game is going to be one of the toughest draft phases we've had to deal with so far, just because of the champion pool that Dino Nuggies does have, and they're bringing in a substitute AD carry as well. And I mean, I don't think Uncle T and the Nefs are prepared for that. And I mean, same for the side of Uncle T and the Nefs. I mean, they're running this double enchanter comp. You obviously have to prioritize that, but I mean, if you prioritize the double enchanter comp, then Tizzy's going to get his champion that he wants in the mid lane. GDI is going to be able to, I mean, potentially pick Udyr, which he absolutely ravaged teams on the first week. So I mean, it's just really tough for both of these teams to have an edge in the draft phase and try to gain an advantage by that.
All right, it looks like we are going to have even more of a mix-up. Mocha Mexican not on, and looking like they might even need a change in the jungle. And for a team struggling to find their identity, just, brutal hit. A brutal hit. Double checking with the side of Uncle and the Nephews now to see if they would request just a little bit more time to try to find, do some review on some of these champs, and be able to see who they're playing against, not skew their draft too much, because when you're making all of these changes, especially the last minute, it definitely makes it harder. And just a reminder to our teams, that is why we have our free agent sections. We do have people listed there, and there are people that I know for a fact were available today. So it's on these teams to reach out and contact some of these players and find these fills before the games start. I understand that emergencies do come up and there are things, but it's just more pushing for communication with your teams, because as we are taking care of stuff over here on the desk side. We're leaving it up to you guys to take care of stuff on your team side. So just going forward, keeping that in mind for everybody participating.
Yeah, no, I think it's gonna be really interesting to see how this plays out. And I mean, Dino Nuggies obviously at a disadvantage, but I mean, even though they are having problems with the rosters, yeah, I mean, it still does add an element of surprise. Like I said earlier, it's gonna be hard for Uncle T and the Nefs to prep. So I mean, maybe they can pull out a miracle win here.
Yeah, and maybe that's just a little bit of fire that they need. It might be something we could see. Off a potential Stevery, a challenge by Uncle and the Nephews. But with how they performing and just what we're seeing here, definitely double checking with them to see if they would request additional time for scouting or anything like that. And Benjamin Zipper, Uncle Tizzy, very confident in his team and what they're able to do. Just immediately, hey, no, we're fine. It's just get these guys in here, and we'll take care of the rest.
Yeah, no, one thing about Uncle T and the Nefs is that they are very confident. They're confident in their teams. I mean, like I was talking about last week, I mean, they have played hundreds, if not thousands, of games together. And that I do think is what sets them apart. I mean, even the boys, they were just talking about how, even though they're I think definitively the second strongest, if not one of the strongest team in this league, it's they just started playing together a couple weeks ago. And I think Uncle T and the Nefs, I mean, they just have so many games, so much cohesion, like team cohesion. And I think they can just play off each other a lot better than we've been able to see from these other teams.
Yeah, and that's a really good point, because the Dino Nuggies is a team that has the least synergy, outside of this tournament. A team, the boys, like they're saying, that's already a squad. They were just looking for a fifth. They're able to pull in, an absolute monster in Iridescent Poro and just immediately click the team. The other four already have this built up synergy, and you just need this one person to come in and click. That was easy, From the side of Double Unicorns, that's another set of guys that play with each other all the time, Maybe at this point needing to not so much find an identity, but maybe find some variation to their play, as their early game aggression has been exposed, and able to pick up things like the Ash to really slow down the impact that Frost and Breakable can have. And then, as you were just saying, Uncle and the Nephews, able, a team that has been have thousands of games played together, and Dino Nuggies, their top laner is an ADC main, but their top laner ADC main is playing a little bit more top now in his ranked, is putting some more time on that role. But you look at these guys' match history, and it's like 3 of them will play together, 2 of them will play together. Whereas if you're checking out in the ULS Discord, people are scrimming, people are setting up times, they're setting up blocks to get their practice in. And, this isn't, the competition isn't here to, hey, I could just pull up on a I could just pull up on a Saturday, Sunday and expect to do well against these teams putting in time outside of this.
Well, yeah, and I mean, like you said, with I want to talk about the boys a little bit more. I mean, filling in other roles other than the jungler, I mean, they're pretty easy. But I mean, getting a substitute jungler, I mean, the jungler is often the one who orchestrates a lot of these plays in early and mid game. So I mean, I think that's even just more impressive that they were able to perform with a jungler who was relatively new to the team, just because he does seem to be the catalyst for a lot of these early game plays. And I mean, the jungler's all over the map, whereas if you're an AD carry, you're not really watching the other side of the map, you're just trying not to get a five-man dove, and you're trying to, stack up these minions. So I honestly, that's really impressive to me that they've, been able to play as well as they have been, with the little experience that they do have with this jungler.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like we do have our five-man fill. It will take a little bit of overlapping coming in from already actually looking for a little redemption in that game one. So, at least a player to where, Uncle and the Nephews know what they're going to be drafting into and what they're going to be drafting against. And it looks like very shortly here we will enter into this champ selects.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things in this champ select is going to come down to whether Artie can lock in the correct champion or not, Z.
Yeah. Something that is a lot harder to do than I had first deemed possible. And that first ban coming in right away, that will be the Lulu taken out of Bug Pudding's hands.
Yeah, I mean, that's no surprise here. I mean, just like we were talking about the Gallia, I mean, it seems like we've just devoted so much time to this double enchanter comp, and it's looking like teams are finally catching on. I would not be surprised to see a Karma ban here. I would not be surprised to see an Udyr ban here.
Yeah, and the Akali coming through, with what Vinny has played, I actually do really like this ban. Something that we could definitely see, and it might just be straight up targeting these assassins that Vinny could play. It makes me wonder what we're going to see in the mid lane coming out of Benjamin Zipper here, because a very heavy focus on these early champions is GDI once again, as you had pointed out, will be denied the Udyr in the jungle.
Yeah, and I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, like I was saying, the Karma or the Lucian ban, and it looks like it's going to be a Lucian ban here. And like I was saying, or like we were talking about earlier before the first game started, I think it's going to come down to a very, very interesting mid lane, just because they've both been playing such aggressive champions. And I mean, you can see it here. Uncle T and the Nef banning 2 assassin mid laners so far, so they are afraid of this Vin Arvel assassin champion pool and the plays that he could potentially make early.
Seeing what this last man is going to be the Cassiopeia. Interesting enough. Just maybe a little bit more homework. I definitely won't put it past Uncle and the Nephews to spend a little bit more time reviewing than perhaps even some of our other teams. So maybe just going deep into the bag and stalking some of Vin Arvel's alternate accounts. I know he did push his alt to a lot of people, even had it as his status for a while, so you can't be doing that if you're trying to hide the picks. And it will be the first lock-in Hecarim just after the bans. I think this champion is playable, but you need to go Define Sunderer. You need to build attack damage. He is not very proficient as a tank, and even with that build, just not as strong as he used to be.
Yeah, I mean, we did get buffs last patch with his Q and then his E scaling with AD. But like you said, I mean, he's just not as tanky as he used to be. He doesn't have as much sustain. But I mean, that Hecarim ult still, I mean, it provides so much CC. And it's still going to be a force to be reckoned with, I think.
Yeah, and we could see Assassin's banned out because it looks like GDI grabbing that Orianna. You got to believe that will be going to Benjamin Zipper in the mid lane. And, Champagne Shower, just, hey, I get to play Sivir again. And this is a champion that he's slotted in on quite a few times, but you feel like you have to ban these other picks that we've seen Benjamin Zipper, GDI, and Bug Pudding perform on. And, it lets people like Champagne Shower just slot into another comfortable pick. It's so hard to ban out this team round one.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy as well to see Champagne Shower just lean on this server, just because, surprisingly enough, I think Champagne Shower might have the largest champion pool out of everyone in Uncle T and the Nefs. I mean, this man can play just about every champion, but he does seem to be very comfortable on the server. And it looks like Dino Nuggies have been reading the patch notes, because Hecarim and Rise are both on the buff list this week.
Yeah, picking those two up. And Alex Bailey called, we're banning out the challenger mid-fill. This dude's not a challenger. No way. It said he was like silver or gold. We'll double check it. But Champagne Shower will lock in the Karma, and this is a great flex pick because we get to see whether or not this is going to be going top or bot, as they do have a little bit of versatility with some of these picks. And Alex confirming that this is a challenger. If that is the case, this game might be ruled for competitive integrity, but we are getting a game nonetheless. But We'll double check that, Alex. I'll probably be sliding into your DMs after this game for a little bit of confirmation on some of that. But just going forward with the game as we have it now, some of these mid bands making a little bit more sense if that is the case. I was just hyped up that my boy Vin Arvell was getting the respect he had finally deserved. But it will be the Renekton and the Gnar being banned out for Yogimoto. With how much this team is moved around, I'd be surprised if Yogimoto didn't move to ADC, as they were looking for an ADC to fill. Something we were talking about at the top of the day, Yogimoto being an ADC main, it might have been easier to find a top replacement and just move him down. So him grabbing the Jhin is definitely a red flag to me, because that is a pick that he's definitely comfortable on at the ADC position.
Yeah, no, and I'm surprised to see the Thresh ban here, just because typically, that's not the type of comp that Uncle T and the Nefs have run. But I mean, we got the Blitzcrank here as well, into Braum and Karma and Sivir. I mean, that's a really surprising pick for me, just because I don't think that Blitzcrank is going to be able to give very much here into this lane.
No, yeah, with the Sivir spell shields and Braum, outside of that, just being able to throw up the shield, the only person you're pulling is the Braum, and stand aside, just such a powerful ability. We'll just be able to retreat to a minion, be able to retreat to the Sivir if she's close enough. Going to be very hard, and it looks like it will be the change-up that I had thought. It will be FT Natsu subbing in, moving to this top side. Yokimoto moving to the bot side with Artie playing the support. It looks like Kalari will be the mid lane, and we will have Vin Arvell on the jungle. So Dino Nuggies, while they are out here looking for their identities, it looks like we are looking for a completely different change-up in the roster. 2 subs, but also just everybody on an alternate role.
Yeah, and I mean, I like that last pick Olaf a lot. I mean, there's just a lot of CC that he can completely negate here. And I mean, if he can get past that Ryze, that Hecarim, and that Urgot, I mean, that Jhin is just dead in the water, because he does not have many tools to deal with their team comp.
Yeah, so, I mean, even if you're, you were talking about last game, you have something like the Ashe, and it's like, all right, well, you could still build Gale Force, you could still kite back. With Jhin, you're going to be getting movement speed on these auto attacks that do crit, yes, but Olaf gets movement speed just from hitting that R Ragnarok, and if Olaf runs in, Orianna Ball just on top of him, Dissonance to give him that movement speed into Shockwave, that will be an absolute, monster combo onto this backline. And Jhin, if he doesn't have Flash Up, is just going to be, he's just dead.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think this is one of the most traditional drafts that we've seen from Uncle T and the Nefs, which will be really interesting to see how that plays out. We do have Uncle Tizzy on the Orianna Comfort pick. He can play this champion very well. And then we also have Bug Pudding on Karma top, which was no surprise. But it just doesn't seem, they only have the one hyper carry this game, which is the Sivir. So you just have to think, if this game does go longer than 20-30 minutes, I think that this Ryze and this Urgot and this Jhin, they're going to be able to scale very well. And I think if they stay even, Z, it's going to be a close game.
Yeah, and, just kind of tipping my hat to more of what Alex said. If this dude really is up at that challenger level, then this might be why we're seeing something more traditional, like you're saying, to your point, shying away from this double enchanter, going for a bit more stability with the Braum, looking for a way to slow this game down. And now something that I'm looking to watch is going to be still this mid-jungle duo. Because even if this guy that is filling in the mid lane is at this challenger level, I feel like League has just changed so much over the course of the years that we have grown away from this 1v9 game. It's still very possible to take over a game, but it is so much harder. I feel like the game has definitely become more team-oriented, and we haven't seen... Oh, excuse me, and I did misspeak. It will be Vin Arvell in the top lane on the Urgot, and it will be FT Natsu in the jungle on the Hecarim. Those still potentially interchangeable. We'll have to see what sums come through once we're loading into the game. But with GDI and Benjamin Zipper's synergy, I still think it's going to be a tall task for a filling mid who doesn't have any experience with this team.
Hey, I mean, Z, if anyone can deal with a mid lane of this caliber, it is going to be Uncle Tizzy in the mid lane. His flex account this season is very high, and I've been talking to him. He's played against people who are master, grandmaster. We played a couple flex games and we went against a challenger, Kaisa. So, this guy is no it's not going to be a big surprise to him to lane against someone like this to lane against someone of this caliber. And I really think if he does get help from GDI, I don't think the skill discrepancy is going to make that big of a difference.
Yeah, and just a really really good pick in the Oriana, like you said. The pocket pick just absolutely smurfs it up on this. I've seen the legendary Tizzy account. I've seen I've seen I've seen the win rate on this champion, and I just think of all the games that I've played on my main where you can just tell it's someone passing through.
Yeah.
And this Oriana is just passing through, and I think we're gonna have a great matchup in the mid lane. To your point.
And Z, you want to know who his duo partner was during that little run on Tizzy? It was GDI. It was
Yeah.
GDI. Yeah. So I mean, it's just they know what they're doing. So this is not their first rodeo, and I'm sure we're gonna see a lot of action in the mid lane here.
Yeah, definitely going to be really fun to watch. And just tracking how Vinarvel and how FT are doing on their off roles, and Yokimoto being able to actually play his main role on Dino Nuggies. We'll have to see. Maybe this is something that the team just looks to switch to. Other than, obviously, the mid laner. If that is your rank, then unfortunately this league is capped. So that could be a permanent change. But perhaps some of these other roster moves, this could be part of the identity that we're talking about that they're looking for.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think this game's gonna be really interesting, just because there's just so much up in the air. We have the subs in on Dino Nuggies, and I mean, we have Uncle T and the Nefs on a little. I mean, they got out of their comfort zone like we were talking about earlier, so it's gonna be really interesting to see. I want to use the word adapt, but I don't think it's really adapting, just because this is how League traditionally is played. So it'll be really interesting to see what happens here, and it looks like we're getting a 5-stack in the blue side.
Yeah, and looks like just it will just be it won't be the full 5-point defense, but they will ward the bot side, the bot tribe brush, and stand guard at this river brush here. Already hanging out in Fountain, does leave, no connection issues. Hopefully he was able to get his game reset, but as we're lining up some of these champions to be in their actual right spot, where do you see a lot of this action going down in this game, Sam?
Oh man, I mean, like we were talking about earlier, I think this mid lane is going to be very important. I mean, we have the Rise, and I mean, his wave clear isn't that great early, and he also doesn't really have any gap closers, which is typically what you see from these mid lane champions. He does have the phase rush, so if he does get his combo off, he might be able to walk it out, but I mean, if this Olaf can connect his axes, it's going to be really tough for him to keep presence in this lane and not die. And I would not be surprised if we saw a level 2 gank early on the Olaf with red buff. I mean, he's going to stick to this Rise like white on rice.
Exactly, and it will be a red start for both sides, so the Olaf will be in the bot side, and the Hecarim will be looking to gank that top side. Definitely a little easier, as that Matt Teacher actually hooked up by Artie here. Matt Teacher already burning down. Might have to expend the flash, and first blood going over to Yokimoto on the Jhin. Looking to punish here from level 1. Really strong, but just a heads up play. Already having that warded, sitting there. Easy pull for the Blitzcrank. Easy first blood. Oh, and another hook lands on Champagne Shower. Does have to expend the flash, and that's... It's both sums down on Champagne Shower. Matt Teacher was able to hold on to his flash, but this bot lane already off to a great start for the side of Dino Nuggies.
Man, what an uncharacteristic start from Uncle.
Oh, we got the flash follow coming in from Artie, but the Braum is there. That means that the heal will have to be burned by Yokimoto to help him escape. But oh man, that's all sums down on the side of the Dino Nuggies, and Matt Teacher still having his flash. Remember that Olaf will be pathing towards this bot side, so they could look to return that. Champagne Shower, great spell shield on that Blitz hook.
Man, Z, not even 3 minutes into the game, and we have 4 summoner spells down. I mean, this is turning out to be just what we ordered. And it's just a very uncharacteristic start from Uncle T and the Nef's bot lane, which have just been a consistent rock for this team so far. And I'm really surprised that Braum didn't flash over the Dragon Wall there. He used the exhaust, but I think if he flashed early, I mean, he would have been fine.
Yeah, definitely would not have given first blood there, you know, given the flash. But, you know, here comes GDI, and Hook does land on the mat siege, but they don't know that GDI is here. GDI coming out. Remember, no flashes to be had. That is a stunned up Artie, and he will just go down on the backside of the axe just to make sure GDI gets an assist. And that's a kill going back over. Great punish from the early aggression coming out of Artie.
Yeah, and I mean, it looks like we're going to get Olaf getting the bot side scuttle, and then Hecarim on the top side. They're shading scuttles here. We did have Rise have to back and TP in the mid lane, so right now Uncle T and the Nefs do have TP advantage in the mid lane.
Yeah, and just with how coordinated this team is, something to keep track of, that could be something that really comes back to bite them. You know, Uncle and the Nephews so good about making these TP plays, one of the best in the league, you know, probably right behind the boys, or right in front of the boys, I would have to say. If they're able to stay on it, is Champagne Shower doing really good here to just dissuade any blitz grab. Low on mana, says, hey, like, you want to go for a pull, I want mana, you know, it's a win-win.
Yeah, no, his boomerang blades have been extremely on point, and I mean, he's gotten a lot of practice on this server, so we know exactly how deadly it can be. And I think it's really just going to come down to see if this Olaf can stack a lead early. I mean, he's already got a pickaxe coming in on his first back. I mean, he is looking for blood, and it looks like both junglers are going to hover around mid lane here.
Yeah, they might meet a Raptor. GDI will see it happening. Champagne Shower able to spell shield that blitz pull, and Nazi will just have to back away there. Good attempt on the invade, but we'll have to see who will pick up this dragon, as first dragon is spawning, and it will be the Infernal. So that is Infernal Soul taking off the map for us.
Yeah, I mean, another uncharacteristic start from Bug Pudding in the top lane as well. I mean, she is just, I mean, so far has not been able to get the CS lead that she typically does in these matchups. So it looks like this Urgot pick by Vin Arvel is really panning out so far. One thing that I want to do highlight, Z, is that if they go, oh, we got to fight in the bot lane.
Yeah, as Braum uses the same side to go forward, does get a mark onto Yokimoto, gets a mark onto both of them actually. Artie might just be stunned up here. The Ricochet will not be used for the auto cancel. His Bug Pudding might be catching Vin Arvel out here. We're talking about not being able to build that CS lead. Well, how about a flash coming out of Vin Arvel? Just able to run him out of lane, and you got to think that that will be his TP just to get back.
Oh man, GDI just there with the axe. I mean, he didn't max range it for that second one, and you just have to think that if he connected that second one, that fight could have been a little bit different.
Yokimoto,
here.
no sums up, already has 2 stacks on. The second part of the boomerang won't connect, but the exhaust does come down, and he just takes him down himself. The man with the shields got the hands, and he brought him down onto Yokimoto.
Oh man, this Jin got first blood, Z, but he just has not been able to translate this into a lead. And Math Teacher and Champagne Shower, I mean, they're really coming through with their synergy here, and I mean, I think they want to take that 2v2 every day of the week if I am Artie, or if he doesn't get that that hook down to start off the fight.
Yeah, they're just doing such a great job, and you know, Blitzcrank already running into some of the issues that you highlighted in the Champion Select, just, you know, having to run into these spell shields coming out from Champagne Showers. And Math Teacher, yeah, you can pull him, but he's able to disengage or just engage off of that so easily, as the Math Teacher has roamed up to the mid lane, did use the flash, and will be able to use the standard side, goes a little bit wide, but the shockwave coming down from Benjamin Zipper will put him down, and the Essence Flux coming through from Rise does put Benjamin Zipper at just a little low of health. Math Teacher looking to clear, but Kalari just might push him off. That will be the pink going down. But I mean, heavy action in this mid bot side, even in the top. This whole map right now just looks like everyone's ready to rain some blood down. Is already just trying to make it a little harder for Math Teacher to get back to the lane. Or is he able to just stun him up and walk away?
Yeah, a little supportal combat there, just saying hi to each other in the river. Right now, Z, I mean, we do have a level 6 advantage on the Hecarim right now. He is level 6 to GDI, level 5 on the Olaf. And it looks like he's going to try to do something bot here. We'll see what he can do. Dragon is up. They could make a play here, and with Shockwave being down in the mid lane, I really do think Dino Nuggies could try to make a play around Dragon here. Looks like they're pinging it as well.
Yeah, GDI taking up this pink warrior. You gotta imagine that that will be the move. Benjamin Zipper is getting this reset off here. Yeah, this has to be their dragon. They have on the side of Uncle and the Nephews, great vision control here, but just with how these reset timers have gone, you gotta believe that they will be giving this up. And with how we've seen them play in the mid to late game in the team fights, and just what this team does look like once they're really unlocked, once more items are coming through, there's no problem with giving up this first dragon.
Oh yeah, no, first item Infernal, it's not that big of a deal. And you know, it is uncharacteristic of Uncle T and the Nefs to give things early here, but I think they are just waiting for this karma to scale up. Oh, it looks like we got a fight in top.
The disdain landed coming in from Vin Arvel, does land the ultimate, just needs to get Bug Pudding below the threshold, but will it be enough? The shield's coming through, the ulti already dropped off, and Bug Pudding just able to walk out of that one. Really well played from both sides there.
Oh man, with those cooldown boots on that Karma, I mean, it's hard to get her low. She's got the empowered W, which just gives her heal. That shield, which is basically permanently up if you're, you know, hitting everyone with abilities. And I mean, it's going to be tough to take down that Karma once she gets items.
Yeah, it will. And just following some of the CS here, relatively even across all lanes. It is just a 6 CS lead from this mid wave. Or from the mid lane that Benjamin Zipper is down right now, and the hook coming through on the Math Teacher, but I don't know if you want to be pulling the Braum. Just throws up the shield, able to just walk it out. But a nice trade onto the Math Teacher there.
Yeah, I mean, we got Noon Quiver on Jin to Caulfield's Warhammer and Sheen on the Sivir.
Oh, and here we go. Sivir does pop the ultimate. Braun able to use stand aside on minion to get forward. We'll get the Winter's Bite procs. But is it enough? The shield is still up. I don't know if Artie wanted to push him. Does have to flash. One more auto would stun him.
Oh,
and these blitz hooks are
lane fights.
Yeah, I mean, they're getting spicy, but the problem is you're pulling the Braum. The Braum wants to jump into you, as he will just jump forward. The Glacier Friction does go down, and they will get that Frostbite stack onto Artie. Oh, pulls Math Teacher under tower into the shield. Does just barely keep him alive. Yokimoto does have the curtain call, but does he have enough mana? And is he willing to take the chance to do it? And he will. He will drop that Champagne Shower. We'll just be taking that up there. Might have to spell shoot the last one, and the fourth shot, curving the bullet, picking up the Math Teacher on the backside of the Champagne Shower, able to find a kill onto I Am Artie, and these ADCs are going blow for blow in the bot lane.
Man, this is an exciting bot lane, Z. You know, we were talking about earlier, I thought this mid lane was going to be the point of contention, but it looks like these junglers are honestly just kind of farming up, letting these lanes fight it out. And I mean, this bot lane is about as even as it gets. 2 kills on both the carries. Looks like Sivir's rushing the Essence Fever here, like she usually does, and then I wouldn't be surprised to see a Gale Force out of the Jhin. But I mean, man, these fights are close, and I mean, neither side has really been able to gain an advantage here.
Yeah, and that will be the Rift Herald dropped into the mid lane, picking up gold plates for the Hecarim as well as the Rise, both receiving about 160 gold there. Already running forward here, looking for the knockup onto Benjamin Zipper, but no one's around. Hecarim's running up the river, and he just goes down a little bit too aggressive. You know, I get it, man. Really wants to take down Benjamin Zipper. Vin Arvel TPing into a bad spot. Does use the disdain to get away, but look at the damage raining down on the team. The Rise is absolutely shredding through these guys, and that is the ulti. But Math Teacher does go down because Benjamin Zipper Math Teacher doesn't go down. Benjamin Zipper able to pick up the kill on the Vin Arvel. Not to also falls at Kalari. That fight looked like it was going to be all Dino Nuggies, but played well from the side of Uncle and the Nephews. Turns it around 3 for 0 in their favor.
Oh man, we got Bug Pudding TPing from the bot lane. We got Vin Arvel TPing. We got Rise TPing. I mean, that was a banger team fight, and it's really unfortunate that Dino Nuggies took Drag earlier, because that could have been a lot worse for them if Drag was still up. That could have been bad.
Yeah, and I mean, just so well played from the side of Dino Nuggies. Can't explain it, and Artie just threatening the pool, gets the spell shield out, throws the emo to let him know, hey, I got you.
Oh man, I mean, we're seeing an item advantage already by Uncle T and the Nefs. We got Orianna already 3-0-1, 108 CS.
Oh, the Math Teacher just going in. The Glacial Fissure does drop, and Artie will be locked up here. That pick does go over to Champagne Shower. Yokimoto will be able to walk that out, and the action in the bot lane continues. Wait a minute, there's action going on around the map. The Red Smite does go down to GDI, but the Command Protect will get him out of there. Did have the dissonance to speed him up, and no Ragnarok does mean they could have gone on to that, but Orianna Shockwave would have been up. It would have been a little tough to pull into that. And like you're saying, Orianna already with this Loon's Echo, not something you want to be really, you know, you don't want to poke the bear. All right.
Yeah, I mean, Z, if you're Dino Nuggies, you just have to slow down the game right now. I think you gotta wait until you get an item on Rise. You gotta wait until Jin completes his mythic, just because right now it doesn't matter if the fight's even or if it's 2 versus 2, if it's 3 versus 3. I mean, just item disadvantage alone. I mean, Uncle T and the Nets are
Oh
gonna
man, and the
have
Matt Teacher just doing such a good job moving up and finding FT Nazi before he's even able to come down and make the play. Matt Teacher will step up to take the root, but here comes Rise, and this has to be looking bad for the side of them, able to use the stand aside to get away. Blast Clone will do it, and oh, Matt Teacher just able to run away. Get out of that. We'll have to expend not even the flashes, not to just go down. Benjamin Zipper's shockwave, sending him into another dimension. And you said they had to slow this game down, and they almost found a great pick, but you know, Uncle and the Nephew just able to fight back.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like they're gonna posture on this drag here. Uncle Tizzy does not have the shockwave anymore, but we still have ults coming in. We got the Ragnarok from the Olaf, so I mean, I would be surprised if they tried to challenge this dragon here.
Right, you will see the Deadly Flourish try to come through from the Jin, try to pick that up, but a good smite from GDI does secure that from the side, and we have a Cloud Drake, and I feel like this is the most famous Drake in the ULS. I am praying for more spicy dragons, but I feel like we get more clouds than anything else.
Hey, I mean, Cloud Soul on the side of Uncle T and the Nets would be huge, combined with the, they have so much speed ups with the Karma empowered E, the Oriana W, and I mean the Sivert ult as well. I mean, if they get Cloud Soul, they could just run down the Dino Nuggies like dogs and really try to press their advantage here.
Yeah, and I'm hard pressed to even think of if there's been a game that, you know, Uncle and the Nephews wouldn't just straight up benefit from the Cloud Soul. You know, a lot of these comps they're drafting with the cooldown reduction on your ultimate and with that passive movement speed buff that you do get from the Soul. You know, perhaps this is a team that's like, hey, we're fine taking that. You know, Cloud Soul helps our team every time.
Yeah, I mean, Z, I mean, it is 9-2. Uncle T and the Nest with the 9 kills, Dino Nuggies with the 2 kills, but I mean, if you look at the gold, it is only a 2k gold lead, and they have 7 more kills. So you just have to think of the advantages that Dino Nuggies have been able to get here, and I mean, it's a lot closer than it looks on the scoreboard, I can tell you that much.
Right, one of the big things is this, as actually Matt Teacher will be pulled back by Artie, and the silence will come down. Matt Teacher burning from the Ignite, and Artie might have gone just a little too deep. The heal will come through from Yokimoto, just barely keeping Artie alive, and I'm liking this aggression, but, you know, you were talking about this Sivert Braum lane, and that is just so hard for this Blitzcrank to really get anything done, and every time he's able to pull Matt Teacher, he even silences him. He just throws up his shield and is just able to use stand aside to just get out of any danger that he's in.
Yeah, and I mean, he's got the Lock of the Iron Solari finish as well. I mean, it is a tall order to kill this Braum here. And I mean, combined with that Sivert damage early, I mean, with completed Essence Reaver, it's going to be tough for the bot lane of Dino Nuggies to find anything here if they keep hooking this Braum.
Oh, as Kalari is actually pulled back by the Shockwave. Rise trying to TP out of it. Will he have the time? And the Ragnarok takes them down at the last second.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think Rise got a little too...
Oh, and a great flash from Tizzy, but will not get him out of the ultimate. But you gotta believe that FT Nazi might have just gone too deep and give him 2 kills. GDI is unlocked on this Olaf.
This is what we were talking about, Z. Uncle Tizzy and GDI in the mid-jungle duo, I mean, they're just too good. And I think Rise, honestly, he got a little too comfortable here. He didn't have his flash up, and I mean, that Oriana, I mean, with that completed item, that is a lot of damage coming out with the Shockwave.
And Hardy and Matt Teacher, I just feel like these guys are just butting heads more than just about anybody else, as it looks like Rise actually TP'd behind the Sivert, but no play was made. Definitely interested to see what actually happened there. Champagne Shower just able to walk it out. Perhaps a little bit more respect, and the silence does not last long enough for Champagne Shower to be able to just throw up that spell shield. Is Book putting also here to dissuade anything. There goes the Sivert ultimate, but once they see Vin Arvel, they just back off.
Yeah, no, really smart play from Uncle T and the Nefs here. They do not want to take those fights. You know, Uncle Tizzy is not there, and neither is GDI. And I mean, those are the 2 strongest members of the team right now. So I think they want to fight around the Shockwave from the Oriana, and they're just waiting on cooldowns right now.
Yeah, and actually really impressive. You know, Tizzy 4-0-3, up 15 CS on this Oriana right now. About 1,300 gold lead. Usually at this point, we see him just absolutely running away from the game. Great sidestep coming out of Yokimoto, able to avoid the Winter's Bite as well as the Glacial Fissure. If either of those had connected, he might have been dead or might have had to even expend the flash. So just really good play coming out of him. Really nice footwork.
Yeah, I mean, if Uncle Tizzy, if he hits Shockwave here and he has any amount of fallout from this team, whoever gets hit by that Shockwave Z is dying. That is a lot of damage on the Oriana right now. The Dino Nuggies have not had any chance to pick up Magic Resist, and I mean, even if they do pick up Magic Resist, you got a 3-0 Sivir on the other team as well, so it's going to be really tough to itemize against their comp, I think.
Yeah, and this Olaf is nothing to scoff at as well. Already has the Core Drinker done, and picking up the plated steel caps will make him pretty tough to take down and get apart from anyone other than the Rise. But you know, this Rise still a win condition for the side of the Dino Nuggies. This is a pick that will scale up to be a monster in these team fights, and that will be doing a lot of damage with his Flux, and just able to bounce a lot of his Qs off of the rest of them if any of these fights are able to be started in Dino Nuggies' favor.
Yeah, no, I mean, this Rise is definitely a ticking time bomb here, and I mean, the way that Uncle T and the Nef's comp work is they're going to run at you, and they're going to run at you fast, and I mean, that's exactly what a Rise wants you to do. He can kite pretty easily with the phase rush, and I mean, if he gets a lot of his passive stacks off, that's going to be a lot of damage coming onto Uncle T and the Nefs here.
And it looks like they will just be trading the Dragon in exchange for the Rift Herald, but they are running right to the other side, popping the ultimate, and just, yeah, to your point, that speed just absolutely disgusting, but they were able to pick up the Rift Herald on the back side of that. And, you know, really well played. I like seeing teams that, if you're losing something on one side of the map, you still leave Rise there, you still left Blitzcrank there, you had opportunities to potentially pick up off of a fumbled smite play for this Dragon, but not committing pieces of that, not committed to running into no vision and just going and getting the easier objective on the other side of the map.
Yeah, I mean, Z, that's what we were talking about earlier in the pregame. I mean, if Uncle T and the Nefs, they're going to make these plays, they're going to try to push their lead, and I mean, it's up to you to try to make plays on the other side of the map. I do not think they wanted the team fight there. I mean, once again, I mean, just looking at the items, I mean, Uncle T and the Nefs still have the advantage, and I think they just need to wait 5, 10, maybe even 15 more minutes until this Rise gets 2, 3, 4 items and can really make a difference in these fights.
Right, yeah, picking up the Everfrost there for the Rise, definitely really good, but, oh, is Yokimoto actually tagged up? The exhaust does come down, and Matt Teacher pulled right under tower, but I've seen this one too many times to be worried. The Hecarim does come in with the onslaught, though, able to chunk him down. Matt Teacher does have to burn the flash to get out of the Curtain's call. The Force Shock will be coming down, but goes just a little bit wide, and already caught a little too far there. Does land a bullet in the Champagne Shower, but the Shockwave will keep him there. The distance will keep him slowed. FT Natsu able to go in, get that shutdown, 600 gold into his pockets, picking up that kill on Champagne Shower. Now FT Natsu has to try to get away, but that is Benjamin Zipper with another kill. The command attack, the command dissonance, locking him down, keeping him dead, and now Rise able to lock up GDI. GDI already using that Ragnarok. The ulti will just go a tad wide, coming out of Vinarvel, and a 2-for-1 right now in favor of Uncle and the Nefs.
Oh man, Z, Artie and Natsu are not on the same page on the other side of the team. You saw GDI on Olaf there absolutely ravaging the front or the back line. And I mean, if you're Dino Nuggies, you got to stop the bleeding right now. You got to play front to back. I don't think they should be diving onto this team just because, I mean, with the Karma, they just have so much peel for their carries. So I think they just have to basically just defend the Rise, defend the Jhin, and just wait for these items to come online.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great way to play it, but, you know, I understand you have a champion that, like Hecarim, you just go so fast, you pop that ghost, you're able to do anything, as we see Vinarvel going right in on the Bug Pudding. Remember, already used the ultimate, but does not know the Champagne Shower is in the area, and so is Matt Teacher, has the flash, but the Winter's Bite does land up. That's the passive attacking, going him down. Vinarvel ticking. Here comes the Boomerang Blade, and then is one tanky Urgot. The Mantra Q will not be enough, able to get out of that, does cost him a flash.
Oh man, Z, that was a close one. I mean that Urgot had to blow flash there, and I mean honestly, I think if he didn't have a cloth armor or didn't have that Dorn shield, I mean he was very close to death there. That's about as lucky as it gets.
And good on them, able to pick up a kill. Kalari looking to be just soloed down, just outside of his range of the ultimate. But that is Yokimoto picking up a kill onto Benjamin Zipper. The team was rotating, took a little bit longer, but now they are here. Yokimoto does fall, and that is Champagne Shower getting a little bit of extra gold in his pocket. FT Natsu has nowhere to go. The Winner's Bite locking him up, slowed, rooted, and the Mad Teacher picks up another kill. Champagne Shower and Bug Pudding just on an absolute rampage right now. GDI able to pick up some kills on the backside of that as well. And, you know, big shutdown, though, coming through on the side of Benjamin Zipper, but they were able to get another shutdown onto Yokimoto as it looks like they're moving straight for this bear.
Yeah, I mean, Z, if you would have told me 2 months ago that a Karma and would be able to kill a Hecarim like that, I would have called you crazy. But I mean, like you were talking about before the game earlier, I mean, Hecarim is just not as tanky as he used to be, and I mean, I don't think he's used to playing this new playstyle with the Divine Sunder, and I mean, that Karma is hurting him more than it should, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely with this Hecarim, with this changeup, you're definitely working more as an assassin, as that will be. The Baron picked up, and Kalari just goes in and just dies. The rest of his team isn't there. They're able to find out this team is so fast. So once they see you, once you step onto any type of vision, as Natsu does just go in, he does not have the ultimate coming up, and Math Teacher GDI might be caught out here in a little bit of pain, but look at the Braum passive just stacking up. Shockwave goes a little bit wide, but Champagne Shower is just raining down the damage on these ricochets. Math Teacher able to use the stand aside to get himself to safety. That turret will not take him down, and this just might be the push to end the game. You know, you have 15-second dead timer, you have 20-second dead timer, but they will not go for it. You know, just the Jhin, just the Blitzcrank. You could argue that they do not have enough wave clear to save it, but it would be risky to go for it, so they will deny jungle camps in this bottom side. And oh man, just so well played, and this does mean that they will go to Soul Point, picking up this Cloud strategy.
Oh, see, I mean, in that fight there, I mean, Uncle Tizzy completely whiffed his shockwave, and the fight still wasn't even close. GDI is an absolute raid boss right now on this Olaf. 2 items completed, just got the Sterex gauge, and I mean, he hasn't even backed yet, so I'm really going to be really interested to see what he picks up here. But I mean, it's going to be tough to deal with. I think that Dino Nuggies, they need to get Grievous Wounds. I think that they need to start, you know, watching this Rise more often, and I think that they need to, you know, find a way to kill this Olaf in order to, you know, bring themselves back in this game. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, and one of the big things we pointed out, you know, regardless of rank, it comes down to so much on synergy, and it comes down on what you want to do as a team. And, you know, just as we've seen, Kalari definitely, you know, making plays on this Rise for Des, but still saying, even in CS with Benjamin Zipper, but just not being on the same page, you know, just not having that same coordination. It's so hard to 1v9 a game, you know? It's just hardly happens anymore in today's League of Legends. Yes, it can happen, but not when you're going up against another 5 second. The Math Teacher looking for blood, goes up for the Glacial Fissure, but Natsu able to just drop the E, runs out of that one.
Yeah, and I mean, one problem that I think we've seen through a lot of the teams in the ULS is they'll pick these late game scaling champions, like the Victor, like the Rise, and they'll just try to force fights early, and that's just not how League of Legends works. If you pick a late game champion, you just have to wait. You have to give certain things. You know, you can't perma fight if you have like a champion like the Rise, just because he takes so long to scale up. And I mean, Uncle T and the Neffs, they definitely know that, so they are pressing the issue here with this Baron buff, picking up mid and hip.
Yeah, mid and him going down and just looking to move that pressure right to the bot lane. It looks like the Dino Nuggies are looking to contest. Benjamin Zipper and the Math Teacher looking to set a trap. Hopefully maybe catching Kalari or Jhin, taking some, you know, unfortunate pathing, but able to just sniff that out, just get away. But oh, it's already actually lands a pull on the Bug Pudding, and that's a big ultimate coming in from Natsu. But remember, Hecarim is not tanking anymore, and he's just bursted down. The Gale Force does comes in. Champagne Shower to pick up Yokimoto on the backside. Kalari, excuse me, trying to get away, but GDI pops the Ragnarok and chases him down. Vidar Bell falls. 1, 2, 3, 4. Call it a quadra. Bad guy GDI taking the penta away from Champagne Shower, and with the Baron buff, they will march down the mid lane and look to end this game.
That is game over. Oh my god, what a showing from Uncle T and the Neffs here. I mean, Z, I felt like this game was pretty close, and then all of a sudden, I mean, this is a 27-minute victory. I mean, a Champagne Shower there. I mean, he was not the one I was watching in that fight, but my god, that damage, 11 and 1 on the Sivir. And I mean, combined with the massive shockwave from the Orianna there, Uncle Tizzy, and I mean, that just unkillable Olaf. I mean, there's not much you can do.
No, absolutely banger of a game coming out there. And I mean, I feel like just taking a second to go back to top of the day to quote the great man Skara, it was close until it wasn't. They just, just one team fight, able to just take that, transition it into Baron, and then just be able to push so effectively. I mean, side of Dino Nuggies, like, again, we do have the subs, but with these positional changes, I feel like we saw, I would say a better showing out of Dino Nuggies. I'm wondering if some of these changes will stick, aside from what we had talked about earlier, but Vin Arvel in the top lane, seeing Yokimoto in the bot lane, like seeing some of these moves, we saw some more stability coming out from the side of Dino Nuggies. So I wonder if this might trigger, a little bit of shifting going on from the team, or if they'll just go right back to it and look to work on that. But, really great showing from Uncle and the Nest, but definitely wanted to take a chance to, though 0-5, I'm looking at that game. That didn't look like a team that was 0-5 coming out of Dino Nuggies.
He did not, no. And I mean, I think it's really just going to come down to whether they can find that identity. And I mean, this is the first season of the ULS. This is week 3. So I mean, we still have a lot of time for these teams to, come together, find a permanent roster, find what works. And I mean, it's only a matter of time until Dino Nuggies pick up their first win.
Exactly.
And another thing that I wanted to touch on with Uncle T and the Nest, I honestly do not think that there is that big of an individual skill discrepancy between Uncle T and the Nest and the rest of the league. I think it is just a macro diff at this point. I mean, Uncle T and the Nest with a Baron buff, it looks completely different than the rest of the teams in the league with a Baron buff. I mean, they are just moving as 5. They got the red side of the jungle warded after they got that mid inhib, and I mean, they are just relentless when they have a lead.
Yeah, and I mean, just absolutely wonderful League of Legends to watch coming out. I mean, you saw Benjamin Zipper not have, at 17 minutes, probably one of the lowest goal discrepancies that we've seen him have, even in the game against the boys. Remember, he had more than a 2K gold lead up on Get Me Out. They were just playing those fights extremely well, still able to punch up and, pull the game back to within reason. But at any point, even when the game was pulled back in, GDI and Benjamin Zipper still had the gold lead on their counterparts. And in today's game, we saw that closer than ever, but then just as soon as they find their fight, as soon as they find their play, to your point, that macro is just where all of these differences are being seen. Even outside of the Baron, just looking at some of these fights, we saw Vin Arvel trying to take a fight top. You can't do that because the math teacher's here. Champagne Shower's here. Everybody's pulling up. GDI's here. We very rarely are seeing people caught out on the side of Uncle and the Nephews. When they're pushing out, it's because they have people in the area. And, some of these other teams, they see the person. They just see blood. They're just going. They're like, hey, finally, they're throwing us a bone. Let's just get in here. Let's get something done. And next thing you know, 3 or 4 people from their team are right on top of you, turning the fight around.
Yeah, no, I mean, we saw a rare mistake from Uncle T in the Nest bot lane with the first blood. And I mean, I thought they could get something going from that. But I mean, Champagne Shower and the math teacher here, I mean, their synergy is about as good as it gets in the bot lane. And it's going to be, even here, I mean, they were without sums and they had a kill deficit. And I mean, they still won that 2v2 almost every single time.
Yeah, and just, I mean, really impressive coming out from them because, like you're saying, like, once I saw Braum go down, it was like, all right, this was supposed to be your safe, stable bot lane. What happens now that they got first blood and then they go right back to what we've seen out of them?
Exactly.
Yeah,
no, I mean, mental fortitude as well. That would tilt me pretty hard. These players might be a little more mentally sound than I am.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it looks like we do have our first interview, or our interview guest, ready, and we will go ahead and pull him. Alex, how you doing, my man?
Hey, Big Z, I'm doing great. How are you?
Dude, I'm doing great, man, especially after that absolute banger that we just got to see out of you guys. All right, walk me through. So, I didn't know, obviously, like, in my mind, I'm just like, hey, like, get people in, like, every time we have these last second, like, oh, by the way, we're missing somebody, I start sweating on stream, I'm like, yeah, Gam, talk a little bit more, but they end up pulling in someone, Challenger in the mid lane. What's going through your guys' head? And, how did you even know? Because I just look and I saw, I believe his account was gold or silver, and I was like, oh, okay, like, they just got, someone in the same elo, but you guys just picked it out right away. You're like, no, this guy's Challenger.
Yeah, I mean, he posted his Twitch link in the chat, and I did a little bit of snooping to find out that he was a higher elo than he claimed. But it's not a big deal. At the end of the day, they don't have the same team synergies that we have, and it's hard to have a sub come in and step up to that where you've been playing with the same people for weeks and in our case years. So it's pretty difficult to fill in those shoes regardless of your role. You don't really know what's going on. But yeah, our game plan was pretty much just the usual camp Tizzy, good macro mid game, and close out the game.
Yeah, and I mean that macro, one of the big fight that really like me and Gam were talking about, because this was a relatively close game. You know, even with the 7 kill lead, gold lead was just at 1,500, 2,000 gold, and it wasn't really budging. But off the back of, I believe, they were sieging mid with the Rift Herald. They overextend. You guys are able to punish. You guys get Baron, and then I mean, off that Baron, the game's over. Like it just a point that Gam made was you guys quite possibly, and I mean, sitting at 5-0, it'd be hard to say otherwise, are the best macro team in the league, and just what goes into that. What without obviously giving away all of the team details, but just looking at some of these teams still kind of playing a little individualistic. What do you credit your guys' ability to be able to function as a whole? Really look like a 5-man unit as opposed to 5 people playing solo queue.
Well, it's pretty easy for us because we have the connections. We have been playing League. I've been playing League with, well, my wife in the top lane for 4 years now, and then I've been playing with the other three for about 2 years, and I played a lot of solo duo with Riley, and we have good mid jung synergy. We have the same mindset when it comes to when to gank, when not to gank. So it's really just comes naturally with how much time that we've all spent together. And as far as the comps and everything, we still got a couple of tricks up our sleeve. I'm not gonna spoil too much, but just be on the lookout for maybe a Rammus support.
I'm sure the boys right now are write that down, write that down. Insert SpongeBob meme here, you know. Gare, did you have any questions before I continue?
Yeah, no, I mean, like we were talking about earlier, GDI, I mean, just your guys' macro is just on a completely different level. Obviously, playing with you and Riley both, I know you guys are both very vocal people. What are your guys' comms looking like in these team fights? Is there one person that takes, a clear leadership role? And who's making these Baron calls? Who's, getting the vision set up and just like telling you guys what to do as a team?
Yeah, so it's actually really funny. We kind of all have our own little. We don't have a shot caller per se. I will say the math teacher is the first to call the Baron calls. He always loves around 23 minutes going up to the Baron and getting vision of there. And so he's quick on the Baron and the objective calls. Our macro did fall a little bit. We were kind of wrong place, wrong time in this game with the first dragon and Herald. I just happened to be on the opposite sides of the map during both times, which I did accumulate a CS lead over for, but it wasn't ideal. We didn't get very many things done like pre 10 minutes, but like I said, our mid game macro is just so spot on that it didn't really matter.
Yeah, no, it's just really, really exciting to watch you guys just because, obviously, we've played lots of games together and it's just really fun just watching you guys just, completely smash this league. But I mean, tomorrow, GDI, you guys are playing against the boys. And I mean, I think this is what everyone who has been watching the ULS has been waiting for, the rematch. And I mean, we've talked you guys up a bunch, and I mean, they looked good today. I'm sure you were watching their game. I mean, what are you guys doing to prepare for tomorrow?
I was playing RuneScape. I didn't actually watch the game, but that's not disrespect. They are definitely the second best team, hands down. I've been kind of talking to Poro a bit. He definitely knows what he's doing in the jungle, and his Fiddlesticks pick really made us struggle that first game because every time we walked into a bush that didn't have vision, we're freaking out that we're about to all get fiddle ulted and stuff. And it did make that game go from a 25-minute game to a 40-minute game with that first fiddle ult at the second drag there. So I don't know. At the end of the day, we're just gonna keep doing what we do best. Just keep our heads on straight and just try to play it to our highest potential. I mean, we got to watch out for Get Me Out. He definitely has carry potential. We saw in the Lucian. I don't think they leave Lucian up for the Tiz though. He'll snipe that away and play it better. But if they do, we'll have to look out for that.
Yeah, definitely something to watch out for. One thing that I wanted to bring up, just while we're having some fun with it, towards the end of the season, we will do MVP voting. And right now, I mean, I'm obviously not gonna give all my things away. But if I had to choose four like really standout people in the league right now, I'd be hard pressed to look outside of Get Me Out in Iridescent Poro and yourself, GDI, and Benjamin Zipper. Now, what would it mean to you to win MVP not only over Get Me Out and Iridescent, but over Benjamin Zipper?
I honestly don't think of it like that. Like I don't know because I don't want to try to sound like I'm trying to be humble, but in reality, it Riley and I have Tizzy and I have played so many games together that it's a package deal. Like honestly, just split it 50-50. We'll each take half the MVP because I play so well off of his Oriana ults, and he plays so well off of my pressure and my gank proximity and stuff that it's just I don't even see myself like without I'm not MVP without Tizzy being in the mid lane. That's just how it is.
I like that thinking. I like it. It doesn't even sound too humble in my case. It just sounds like the right PR answer. I'm sure that, your guys' press person will be very, very happy that you didn't let me goad you into a spicier answer. Oh man. So obviously tomorrow being our big game, and that really gonna set the tone for what it's looking like. But regardless of that, if we're looking come playoffs, right? 1-4, 2-3. Right now, you guys would be playing Dino Nuggies. So this team that you're just playing, over the course of a series, best of three for these semifinals. Do you guys see? I know you mentioned the spicy Rammus, but do you guys see yourself being challenged once we move out of this best of one setting into a best of three and a best of five type finals?
Oh, of course. I mean, you saw from MSI that the group play is totally different ball game than best of threes. And when you have time to lose a game, if you have the mental to shake off a loss and you can look at what happened and you can say, what did we do wrong? What did we do right? What picks do we do? How can we face this? It's so much easier to do than waiting a week to play again. You kind of forget some stuff. You're not as warmed up, and I think that teams will play better in groups versus or in best of threes versus us than they did in group stage. That being said, I don't think we're dropping a game still because you guys still haven't even seen our full potential yet.
Oh man, that I like to hear that. Yeah. Did you have anything to add on that? You look like.
Man, I don't know. I mean, they have every right to say anything they want about these teams because they have just been. I mean, there's been one game Z that has been close, and I mean, it was against the boys. And not to discount any of the players from either of the teams, but I mean, we have GDI and Uncle Tizzy versus Iridescent, Poro, and Get Me Out. And honestly, like you were saying, Z, I think these are the two or some of the four best players. Definitely the best jungle and mid duos that we have in this league. So Alex, I mean, how hard are you going to jungle diff and camp mid, and like how big is the gold league going to be at 10 minutes next tomorrow?
10 minutes, 50 gold. 20 minutes, 10K.
Oof. All right.
Oh man, a man of humble beginnings, but knows
Yeah.
the trajectory of his team very well. GDI, thank you so much for hopping in for this interview, and thank you so much for hanging out and taking the time with us.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having us. Thanks for doing this whole thing. And you, Gam, and the whole cast has been doing amazing. It's phenomenal. Really fun thing to be a part of. We were just talking about how this is the most fun we've had on League in as far as we can remember. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We really appreciate that.
Appreciate it, Alex.
See ya.
All right, bye.